So here's the last part of my cases lot. This came from that same seller. He tells me that he's not taking this stuff apart. He bought all this stuff in a giant lot. So these dials here, this represents the last of this. And, there may be something to what he says, because all these dials, some of them look really good, but they're all covered with surface scratches. Some of them are nice. Some of them obviously came out of beaten watches. This is the same, actually exact dial as this one. And you can see what time has done. Oh wait, almost the same. That's Seiko 5 automatic, that's a Seiko DX. I mean, the markers are slightly, they have white on them. Different brand. Seiko did this all the time. They would change a dial for one versus the other. This one actually is really cool. This was a TV dial. I never liked the cases on these, which were like an oval, but imagine this in a TV dial watch. So you actually saw the oval. With the two colors like that, it would be so pretty. That would be, and it would have this real like crazy space age feeling. But the corrosion got in. And it's just, it's way too far gone for me to pick up. And look at the loom. Look at the loom. God, if it wasn't for that damage, this dial would be exquisite. I would literally build a watch out of this. Wow, that's heartbreaking. Yeah, I couldn't really tell from the photographs how good the dials were. Another one of these square ones. Hey, that's a pretty okay dial. That ain't bad. Got a little bit of scratching up there. June 1973. Yeah, we got one here. It's another one of these, and it's sunburned. That's what it looks like. You see that? Gets that kind of exposure. At least that's what I think of it as being. So, getting back to the dial, checking stuff out. So we got a lot of cool dials. Here are the three that are pretty cool. At least I think so. Use blue bin here. This is a dial that Seiko's used a lot. They had a 6106 and a 6309 version of it. I believe they actually make a version of this today. You can see it's vertical brushing. You see the damage there on the very top surface. I have a technique to deal with that. These are nice dials, but I think I have like 4 of this model of watch. Just, they keep coming here. I don't know why. There's some pretty dials here. This one almost has a 6200 look. It really does. It's a pretty dial. It's very classy. Very classy. Sorry, I'm sitting here thinking if I could somehow adapt this to my 6200. This dial's up, jacked up, and I don't have this watch. I wonder. That's an interesting idea. That's an interesting idea. I'm going to put that over here, so I'll think about it. But here, I'm sure you saw the greatest treasure, but we're not going to talk about that yet. This one was a real good one. It's actually, this dial's in pretty good shape. You got the bad loom, and this chip there. I can fix that. I can see if my solution will pull this back. If not, these are painless to reloom. But if I can save the original loom, I will. This is one of the UFOs, and it has a black indicator ring around it, sort of a biggish case like so. What's cool about the black indicator rings on these models, they don't fade. I don't know why, it's a different plastic. Now this is a neat thing. Anybody want to take a guess? I'm sure most of you know. This is a conundrum. This is the non-MACV SOG, MACV SOG dial for the watch model. It has always been said this model was not pictured or in any of the Special Forces books that I have seen. This one, these wore what I call a cowpoke case, because it looks like a little fat bow-legged dude. So it has this sort of wide stance case with a bezel. They're really pretty elegant watches, but everybody says these 6106s, the DXs, that they weren't. Oops, this is upside down. I have talked to somebody, emailed me, unfortunately this was years ago now, and he said, hey, my dad was issued one of these. And I was like, what? And he showed me the pictures. And he says, but he was like, well, I don't know, maybe he bought it. But he had one, and he said he wore it in his service. So, you know what? Who cares? It's a nice dial. It's a nice case. And the greatest thing, there were some boxes of just like, you know, screws and destroyed balances and crap, right? Also had the original handset in really good shape. So I'm going to put it back together. The only bummer is I don't think I have the correct original case back. I'll have to check, but I don't believe that I do. 6106 8319, I believe, is it. So yeah, I'll do my best to ascertain which one of the movements this baby would have had and go ahead and build it. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, if I was feeling wacky, you know, everybody's feeling a little wacky. Use a Sport Diver a dial for a case for a Gene Kranz or a 6117 8000. And sort of make a little Sport Divery thing out of it. I don't have a rotating ring, but I have this vintage sort of Bakelite one. Nah, that would look terrible. Come here. All right. Well, I'll look through and get things going. I think it ought to be fun. But that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. Because the nice thing is, officially, it's not a Mac VOG. See, Mac VSOG, which means it's not gonna be high on the price scale. I've been thinking for a while about one of these. I'm like, geez, I haven't seen one of those for a while. I'd like to have one. So I get the pieces to build one, and I like that. If I don't have the right case back, I'll put a display case back on it. It'll look really nice. I'll fix up the scratches on those dials. See those surface scratches? I'll deal with that, because look, the loom is perfect. Perfect, perfect. I'll take care of it. Don't you worry. Last thing. I am, with this lot of watches, I used to do, well, I still do, it's just been a while. I have a series called the Insomnia Watch. It's where I get sort of I used to suffer from insomnia. So far I'm fine for 2023. But I used to grab some odd watch and think about restoring it, something unusual. So I'm looking through these, and I'm thinking, I got two that I'm interested in. This is a Bolaro. I've never heard of them. It's got like copper, gold lettering, black rings. It's a base metal case, stainless back. This is the one, this bracelet, apparently, this is the one it came on. This bracelet is an Expando, and apparently these were made in 1939 in Germany. But the font on the dial, that looks more Hebrew-y to me. Maybe somebody got out. The other one is actually this Tressa. I don't know anything about Tressa, but I like the simplicity of the dial. And even though it's small, it's not too small. Whoever wore this, whoever had this watch, they wore it on a ribbon, like what do they call that? Grosgrain, Grosgrain. Also, atypically for this period, this case is not base metal. It's all stainless. That's a nice watch. Dial's kind of jacked up. I mean, I can make it look a little better. I'm not exactly sure. I believe this movement's a complete runner. Don't do this at home, people. Now I'm going to use the correct tool. I'm not going to fool around with this. Yeah, I'd be interested to see. This is a real classy piece. And this one is unusual. It's just unusual. They're both nice movements. It's funny, this watch is actually pretty good shape. Look, doesn't have a lot of surface abrasion. Some. It's a base metal case plated. It's got some abrasions, but not that much. Overall, it's in pretty nice shape. It's a really thin watch too. But the lugs, look, they're worn to oval. Somebody wore the heck out of this thing, but it never got beat up. Look at that. And the bracelet needs a little repair right there. These things, it's sort of a double side spring, kind of like a leaf spring. I don't know. I think it's pretty. But at the same time, I think it's actually really stylish, kind of manly too. It's a cool watch, man. I don't know. So what do you guys think? Tressa or Bolaro? Tressa or Bolaro? Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, people. Good night.